Welcome to Grow My Etsy Shop podcast, the drips of knowledge you need to start growing.
Hey, welcome. So today we're going to be talking about a marketing principle that a lot of Etsy shops aren't very good at. And that's showing what the product is actually going to do for the person. So the typical Etsy seller is going to take pictures of their product and they're just going to show their product from different angles. Here's my product from the front, here's it from the back, which is great because what that does, it allows the consumer to see the product, which is a must if we're going to buy something. I want you to imagine if you're going to a store or whatever, you're going to handle the product, you're going to look at it, you're going to pick it up, you're going to see all angles from it. So we definitely don't want to hide any of that from our consumer, because the minute we start to not show pictures of something, they're going to naturally say, well, why not? So, good. But here's the next part. What if we want to sell them? Because it's really hard to sell if you're watching the video. If you're watching me on YouTube, I have this gold pen in front of me. And if I just say, want to buy my gold pen? Someone has to be in the mood for a gold pen. So if someone came to me and said, Jared, I want to sell this gold pen to someone, I'm not going to say, here's what you need to do. You need to go knock on the door and show them the pen. And then if they say no, move to the next door, knock on the door and show them the pen. That isn't what I'm going to say to them. I'm going to say, look, we need to figure out what it is about this pen that's going to make their life better. And as soon as we figure that out, that's when we can sell. So most people at that stage are going to say, well, the pen is going to, if you're watching me on YouTube, I got my pen out. It's going to be able to, you'll see here's a fountain pen that I have here. And so this is how it works. You put ink into it and it's pretty cool the way the gravity works in it, and you're able to write it, and it's, the way it looks is nice. That is warmer. So you've done a good job for, instead of just saying, well, here's my pen, why don't you buy it? You've moved it now to, well, it actually has some cool features about it, some things that make it different. Here's what makes this pen cool. So you've now moved from not good to good, but we're not at great yet. I would say 90% of Etsy shops are about, well, I'd say 60%, 70%. 70% of Etsy shops show their product. The top 20% are doing what we just explained. The top 5% are doing what I'm going to teach you. You need to teach, and teach is the right word. You need to teach those who land on your listing what their life will look like when they have the pen. And for that to make sense, you have to show them what their life is like before they had the pen. So if I can show that someone is writing and it runs, it's not super clean, or it looks generic, or they're hard to write with, and then I show that this is actually really easy to write with, and that the way it's going to look is going to be great. And then we go to that next level. And I've talked about this in past podcasts, which is that internally, people have thoughts that they don't necessarily say. But to have something that makes someone say, wow, this is really well made, that's probably what they want. Someone who's buying a fountain pen probably wants people to know they're writing with a fountain pen. So if you are just saying, well, here's a picture of a fountain pen, are you selling what they deeply want? No. If you say, look how great this pen is, what you're doing is you're selling the pen. But if you say this pen can show, or people will know that you're writing with a expensive fountain pen, that's selling to them. You've now sold them their emotion. That's what they want. That's where they're willing to spend their money. And one of the best ways you can do this, and this isn't for everyone, but most of you can sell transformation, which means that you take where someone is and you show them what their life is going to be like after the product. So let's go through some examples here. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see I have an image up. If you're on my podcast, I currently have a can cooler. And it's really meant for bachelorette parties. And so you'll see they put the can in it and you're good to go. As I go through these pictures, you'll see really quickly that these can holders are just being sold as can holders, and they're just showing them in use. They're showing the colors you can get. They're just showing the options that's there, but they aren't showing the transformation. What happens when someone has this? So what are they actually buying? They're buying for a bachelorette party, which means what do we want to show? We want to show people in a bachelorette party enjoying themselves. That's what needs to be shown here, because that's the transformation of what this product is taking place. Now, in a perfect transformation world, we would actually want to show what life was like before and what life is like after. This one would be a little bit difficult and probably feel a little bit corny, but let's jump into another one and I'll show you what this can look like. So for this one, it is a cookbook holder. So you'll see here, the cookbook is being held. We have a nice farm kitchen that's there. For those watching the podcast, or for those listening to the podcast, it's essentially just a book holder that holds the page open for the cookbook. But on picture 4, we see a transformation picture taking place, which is that the cookbook is on the counter and there's flour all over the counter and there's flour on the cookbook, and it looks like the cookbook's having a hard time staying open. And then in the same picture, there's just a line in the middle. On the other side, there's the cookbook is open. There's nothing on the counter. It's held above the mess. And so now you can see the difference of what this product is going to do for your kitchen. And in text, it says, from chaos to calm. No longer is this individual selling the simple cookbook holder. Because when I explained it, I was like, yeah, it's a cookbook holder. Put your cookbook in it and it's good to go. Do you want one? You go, no. But what if I can get you a cleaner kitchen because of this? And what if, and this is the kicker, that's what your kitchen currently looks like when you cook? Because now you're taking someone to transformation. This is and this is an interesting fact. These types of ads are actually banned on paid social media. So if you tried to show or sell like, hey, I take this supplement and you'll go from fat to skinny, cannot do it. It will not allow you to show that. The reason being, and there's part of it is, could be false claims, right? Number 2 is it's just too powerful. It works. People see something and they're like, that's my body. And that's what my body can look like with whatever product is going to give me this. I'm in. So we know it works. We know it's there. And I'm saying this right now. I know that not everybody can have this. You can sell the desire. Every person on Etsy can sell the desire of what someone wants, no matter if you're POD, digital download, handmade product, in a sea of competition, or a lone wolf. Everyone is buying for a reason. And that reason isn't usually because they want your product. They want what your product is going to give them. Okay. So everyone can do that. The transformation, this is where we get unique. But you would probably be saying to yourself, oh, well, I just sell a cookbook holder. How could I sell a transformation? Boom. Here we are. I was talking to someone the other day who sells wreaths. And I was like, look, you can have a picture of kind of a boring porch and then literally put a wreath on it. And suddenly that becomes a place where you are suddenly, I think the desire of someone who's buying a wreath for their outside of their door is someone who wants their home to feel welcoming. They want to welcome people before they even knock. They want to have curbside appeal. They want to have their home stand out. They want to look at the outside of their home and say, oh, that's cute. Maybe they're festive people, so they're trying to just bring the festivities outside. They want to be able to have this, enjoy the seasons of there. All of those things is why the desire of someone wanting to buy a wreath would be. But we can show the transformation of, well, this is probably what your house looks like now. But we make it dramatic. We dramatize it. That's the word. So we, oh yeah, kind of a boring house, and then boom, the nice house with the nice wreath on the outside and the welcoming porch. And we say, that's what the wreath can do for you. And they say, bingo, that's what I want. I'm not wanting to buy a bunch of arranged flowers and then hang it on my door. I want to have what that is doing. I want to take my porch from where it is and bring my desires to life. And they can see it. And that's powerful. It's a powerful way to sell. I'm now going to give you the 5 reasons transformational selling is so powerful. And I think once you hear these 5 reasonings, you're going to be able to A, understand like, okay, this is something I need to do. B, you're going to have a better understanding of how to do it. So hopefully the examples have helped. Now we're going to go even deeper into some of this logic that's behind it. So number 1 is when you are using transformation selling, you make the person who's shopping the hero instead of the product. So this is a common saying in marketing. As soon as you make your product the hero, you're doing a bad job. Like, that's the difference between a good marketer and a bad marketer. A good marketer, it doesn't make the product the hero. They make the person buying the product the hero. So again, if you go back to the wreath scenario, here's a wreath. Isn't it great? Isn't it pretty? Isn't it wonderful? Sure. But if you can make the person say, look, your house is going to be transformation. This is what you're going to gift the neighborhood. This is what you're going to gift those who are coming to your door. You make them the hero. And now they get to do. Look at your kitchen. See, before it's all messy and things like, now it's going to be up. This is going to be able to display your stuff. She even has this cookbook thing with the reading glasses, and it's going to cook put your reading glasses connected to it. You're not going to lose those. You're going to have an organized kitchen, not a chaotic kitchen. You're going to have a calm kitchen, not a disruptive kitchen. They then become the hero. See how that works? Okay. Number 2, when you use transformation, you are connecting to the desire that they have and not the logic. So logic selling is wonderful. It is needed. You can't sell without logic. It's when we overpower someone with logic. That's when it becomes a problem. So it's just like, I think a perfect example of this, and I think we've all had this situation, when someone is trying to sell us something we aren't interested in. Do you know that feeling that you have? Get me out of here. No, thanks. My brain is turned off. I am not interested, because you haven't connected with them yet. And so logic comes once you have connected with them. So an example could be this. If someone knocked on my door and said, hey, Jared, we have created an app and it's going to notify you when the mail comes to your door or to your mailbox. My response to that would be, no, thanks. And if it was like, well, let me tell you about how we created it and how this and how that, and I'd be like, no, I don't care. I don't want it. I don't want to be notified when my mail shows up in my mailbox. But I could take that exact same product and I could say to them, hey, have you ever missed, or do you want to know the difference between junk mail and important mail? Well, yes, because I have to go through my junk mail to find the important mail. And so, yeah, I do. Well, we've created this app that notifies you when important mail is delivered. So that way you can know, like, oh, suddenly that connects me to this. Suddenly I'm more emotionally, same product. I just changed the way that I worded it to hit someone's desire more. So once I have the desire, that's when logically I'm like, okay, how does it work? Because am I going to get notified all the time or whatever, and now we can work through that. So when you start thinking more transformation, you start thinking more desire, and that's going to make you better at selling. The next thing is it's going to create emotional clarity for someone, because people feel a certain way, but they don't say it. And I've shared this before. So I might feel like, well, I want people to think I'm fashionable. I might feel that way, but I might not say that to anybody. I'm not saying it to my wife. You know what I want people to think of? Fashionable. That's an internal feeling that I have. I'm not saying I do. I'm just sharing this with you. It's just in here. And so when someone connects with that internal feeling, they've connected with your emotion and have brought clarity to it because they have presented it in a way that you feel but have not expressed yet. So one of the best ways to do it is, or to imagine this, is let's just say you have certain tastes that you like. Oh, I really love cinnamon, or I really love banana, or I really love dark chocolate or something like that. And someone makes a really good dessert with that palate that you have. So then you eat it and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so good. What's in it? What's the recipe for this? And it speaks to your soul because you have that palate, right? This is what this does for people, is it allows them to feel that you have connected to their palate. And so though they have never made the dessert themselves, though they don't know how to make that dessert, though they weren't necessarily thinking about making that dessert, you connected with their palate. And when it does, there's an emotional connection of you understand me. And that's what you want to bring to someone. Okay, what number am I on? 4? I think I'm on number 4. It's going to help you stand out in a crowded market. So if everyone's just looking at logic, and then you come in there and bring in that clarity, that you connect with them emotionally, you help them see you're not selling the product, you're going to stand out. That's going to be huge for you. And then this is my favorite one. And if I know I have some people in my mastermind listening to this podcast, and I tell them, I say this all the time. I say, this is my favorite word. It increases your perceived value. Perceived value is what someone value is such an interesting thing. Price is such an interesting thing. We pay based on what we perceive the value to be. And so a lot of times competition, this is what capitalism believes in, which is that competition helps set that. So if someone's willing to pay $1,000 for an iPhone, your product is worth $1,000. If someone's willing to pay $500,000 for your house, guess what? Your house is worth $500,000. But if you think your house is worth $500,000 and someone pays $400,000 for it, guess how much your house is worth? $400,000. Perceived value. So your job in being able to sell online is that you have to present a perceived value, which is an opinion. That's what it is. It's an opinion. Now, capitalism and Etsy and things like this allow for there to be a price range, right? So if you all of a sudden you went on there and said, yes, I'd like to sell my cookbook stand for $1 million, they're going to go, no. But if you can say, well, look, mine is better, and here's why mine's better, or if they just feel yours is better, which is what we're trying to do here, there's going to be something that draws them to your product. If you can take away concerns, if you can make them feel like the hero, if you can show them what their life is going to be like with your product, and you can sell it this way, Etsy will love you, your customers will love you, people will come back, and this is one of the I know I've already said 5 things, but this will be number 6. Actually, I got 6 and 7. 6 is you help structure reviews better for you because they're buying based on their desires, and so that's more likely to fulfill their desires, which will give taste palette. So they eat something, they go, my gosh, I love dark chocolate. This has so much dark chocolate in it, and it's so good. That's what makes the review. If I just eat something that's good, I go, wow, that's really good. But it didn't connect with me. You're connecting with someone when you bring in that emotional clarity. Okay, so your reviews go up when you do this kind of stuff. No, and then this is my last one for you, is that it's so much easier to market. Once you get in, because this is what I do from a marketing standpoint. I take people's products and they say, ironically, I have this strange product next to me, which is a stamp for wax sealing mail. So weird. If you're on the podcast, you'll see me holding this thing. This right here, if someone comes to me and says, Jared, I want to market this, I don't say, let me tell you all about this product. I instead go the other direction. Who's using it? Why are they using it? What are they trying to do with this product? And I sell it that way. So as soon as you do this, and guys, this is life skills. Like, I think if someone said to me, Jared, you can teach a class in high school for the upcoming generation. I'm a marketer. I would say I would teach them how to sell. That's what I would teach them. I believe if you have the ability to sell, you will never hurt for money, because there's every job, everything you're doing, every career path that you have requires you to sell. And if you're good at it and have those skill sets, you can feed yourself and your family for the rest of your life. Okay. If you want to learn more about this, you can join my school group. I'll put a link in the description below. Adios.